In this video, we're going to cover a walkthrough and an operation guide for the Helix Stadium XL. We're going to cover things like upgrading your memory, the matrix mixer, and just the basic operation of the unit. And we're going to get started right now. Okay, we're going to begin on the back of the Helix Stadium, and we're going to start with these two inputs here, and these are for expression pedals. You have an A-B over here and a CD over here, and that pertains to the type of cable that you hook into it. So if you hook a TRS cable, like so, has two rings on it, both A and B are engaged. Same thing down here, both C and D are engaged. If you hook a single cable to it, like this one right here, plug it in, now just the A is going to be working. If you plug it down here, just the C is going to be working. Okay, so let's say you want to hook up an expression pedal. You can hook up the line 6 expression pedal 2, and you use these to hook up that pedal. So here, you could also do third-party pedals. Here's a Fender pedal by Mission Engineering, and we have an expression side and a toe switch side, and there's a toe switch right here. And the line 6 pedal works the same way, whichever one you're using. And what you would do is you take the TRS cable, hook it up to the expression. Then you would take the single cable, hook it up to the toe switch. And it doesn't matter which cable goes into what jack. You can have it any way you want. So you can plug in AB right here and CD like that. Or you could reverse it. And now you have an extra expression pedal. So let's unplug this real quick. So you can also do like third-party foot switches, like say this Boss FS6. And the way you would hook that up, we have on the back single jacks and one for TRS cable. So if I plug the TRS cable in, I have access to A and B, right? And then I can take this TRS cable and plug it in to A and B. Or C and D, it doesn't matter which one. And now I have two extra switches. Now I can also, if I just want to use one, or if you have a single pedal, you can do it this way. Let's plug into the A for our example. We'll plug it into C and D. Now just C is controlling this pedal, okay? And that's pretty simple and straightforward. Okay, let's talk about the inputs next. You have instrument 1 and 2, and then you have a mic input. And this mic input also has phantom power, so if you need phantom power to power a condenser mic, you could do that. Now, you might be thinking, why do I need 3 inputs like that? I'm just going to plug my guitar into it. Well, one of the things that shine about this Helix Stadium is the audio interface. So if you're using this in a recording application and you're using it as an audio interface, they give you 3 main inputs here. Plus, if you're coming out of a guitar effect and it's stereo, now you have a stereo connection as well. So that's the reason why you would have these 3 inputs. The Helix Stadium also has 4 effects loops. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they can be used as mono effects loops, or they can be used as stereo effects loops. 1 and 2 would be stereo, and 3 and 4 would be stereo. And the returns also operate as inputs. If you just wanted to use them as inputs, you could do that. So that's 4 additional inputs with the 3 you have over here. Now on effects loops 3 and 4, you'll see return auxiliary and return auxiliary. You can make these auxiliary inputs, and you have a separate signal for the auxiliary input that you can route to a DAW application if you're using this as an audio interface. And you can do things like plug your keyboard into there, or any kind of drum machine or third-party electronic device you can plug into there if you're going to record from that. Okay, the Helix Stadium also has 3 main sources for outputs. First, you have the headphones output, which is right here. And then you have 1/4 inch left and right outputs, which are right here. You would plug the left output into your guitar amp, and the right and the left would be summed together if you're just plugging in mono. So mono would be on the left side. And next you have left and right XLR outputs, which is right here. That could go to like a mixing board or any kind of monitors that you have. And those are the main outputs, and each one has its own volume output control. Okay, so here we see a variety of connections for the Helix Stadium. First, we have USB-C, and that's what we use to connect to our computer. And I like to use this kind of a USB-C connection. It's got the connection sideways, and that way I can just kind of connect it like that, and then plug it in the computer. And that's how you would connect it if you're going to make this an audio interface, or if you're going to play backing tracks from your computer, or if you're going to use the software to make a preset. That's how you would connect it. Next, we see a USB-A, and that is not for plugging into your computer. That is for a Wi-Fi access. Now, the Helix Stadium does come with a Wi-Fi, and you can connect it directly to your router. What this is for is that it provides a way to connect using an Ethernet link. You can get an adapter that has an Ethernet connection on one side and a USB-A on the other side and connect it that way. Or you can get another type of adapter that's another type of wireless that'll plug right into the USB-A. And next we have the SD card, which is right here. Now, the Helix does come with a 32 gig SD card, but they allow you to upgrade and increase the memory of that. And it's got a little kind of a deal in front here that prevents the card from being taken out. So if you want to take the card out, you're going to need a screwdriver. And we're just going to screw a little bit. We're not going to totally remove the screw. Same thing over here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to flip this up, push in, and the card comes out. Okay. So once the card comes out, you'll see it's a 32 gig card, and you can upgrade this. I have here a Samsung 64 gig card, and I'm just going to put that card in there and double my memory. I don't know what the highest amount of a card you could put in here is. It could be 128 gigs, it could be 256, or it could be 512. I don't know the maximum amount of memory that you can install on this, but I know I can at least upgrade it to 64. Just tighten that up again, and that's supposed to remain on at all times, and it's there to protect the SD card. Next, we have our MIDI in and out up here, and then we have a digital SPDIF out. Then over here we have Nexus, and you'll see this little icon in it. So what is Nexus? Nexus is an internet protocol. In fact, if you Google Nexus protocol, you'll find out a lot more about this. You can hook up Nexus hardware as well. So this connection goes out and goes into that D10, Line 6 D10 box, which will add a lot of features to your Helix Stadium. One thing it will add is the ability to plug in any kind of Variax guitar. Another thing it'll add is an AES port. So you'll have a stereo out AES port, and those will go to the Line 6 cabs, and you can sync them up in stereo. You can daisy chain those, and it provides two outputs for AES. And it's supposed to represent the amp models a lot better, and the amps are supposed to be more authentic through the AES port. And that's why that's provided. The other thing is that it provides another USB-C port, and this will mean that you can interface this with the computer through that port instead of this one right here. And what that will do is it'll give you access to the digital out that's on there, and that digital out can go into a 8-channel mixer. So it'll allow you to mix the 8 channels from using this as an audio interface. And then you'll see 2 more Nexus connections, and I don't know what they're for, probably so you can daisy chain things together or use it for some kind of future use. Okay, so here we are at the top of the Helix, and looking down on it, we're going to go ahead and turn it on, power it up, and it takes a little while. You'll see the light come on here momentarily. It's in the boot up process now. It takes about roughly 1 minute to turn on. Timed it with a stopwatch, and it comes out to about a minute, but we're going to speed it up for the sake of time. Okay, so now we're in a setup phase, and you can choose not to show this again, or you could skip all. We'll go ahead and do that. And we're going to hit yes. I want to show you how to go through the setup manually, and we're going to begin by coming over here to the 3 dots. This is the settings area. You click on that and we have global settings. We have bypass control, command center, global EQ, all this stuff. But what we want to really focus on now is the Wi-Fi. So this has built-in Wi-Fi access to it. You can connect about any router you want, just about. And now it's searching for networks. And we're going to go ahead and log into our router. Okay, so now that we have logged into our router, you can see our Wi-Fi connection and our signal strength here. And we can go ahead and log into our Line 6 account. And we do that by coming over here to Account Login. And we have a choice of using our phone or just logging straight into the account with our login and username. Okay, we're now logged in. You can tell by the green check mark where it says log out. If I click on that, we will log out of our account. We don't want to do that, but what we want to do now is check for firmware updates, and you do that by going to downloads. And once this comes up, you can see that we're fully up to date. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to take us back to the main screen here. We're going to go back to our settings, and now we're going to go and check out our clock and set that up. But before we do that, notice that our firmware is 1.1.0. So this is where you would look to see if you have the most current firmware. But now we need to go into global settings, and now we're going to go over to date and time. And in date and time, we can change the clock and set the time. Now we can do this. We're online right now, so let's get into date and time for that. If you don't have internet access, you can turn this over like this, and now you can set everything manually. But we do have internet, and we want the internet to set the time. We're going to click yes, go back to where it was. So now we just set our time zone, and we would go to Chicago. It doesn't say Central Time or East Coast or Mountain Time or West Coast, so you have to kind of choose a city. We're in Central Time, so that's what we need. So we're all set up there. So let's go back to our original screen. And to get back to the home screen at any time, all you have to do is come over here and hit the home button, and it takes us back. And now we have our time is right and our clock is set. Okay, so now it's time to cover some features on the top side of the Helix. And we're going to begin with this big screen right here. It's a major upgrade for the Helix Stadium. And it's a great touch screen. You can access many areas through the screen. And for example, our preset here is Stadium Rock. If I hit the I want more information about this, it'll bring up this screen that will bring me more information about the Stadium Rock rig. Now, if I get lost in pages and I can't find my way home, I'll go over here and hit this home button, and that brings me back to the home screen every time. So it doesn't matter how many pages down you get or where you are on the screen. If you ever need to get home, just hit the home button. Now, this knob right here will cycle through the various presets that we have. As you can see, we're on 3C. We'll go back this way, and let's see. Let's go to B. Now, once I have B selected, all I have to do is push it in, and it'll change to that preset. Next to that, we have the Song View button, and the features for the Song View are still being developed. They're not available as of yet, but there's something we can do with it right now. We're going to go into manual mode, and to do that, we're going to switch off the Helix, and then we're going to hold down the home button and the Song View button at the same time, and then turn on the Helix again, and it's going to boot up. Then we see the light come on. If we can take our hands off the buttons, it'll boot up the rest of the way. So now we are in maintenance mode, and the first thing to know about maintenance mode is that this is the micro SD card data selection. And this list basically tells you what can be stored on that memory card in the back. So the first thing is delete loops. This tells me that you can use a looper and take those loops and store them on the card. Also, delete song tracks. That could be backing tracks. That could be multi-tracking of any kind that you do. Now, that's a feature that's coming. It's not developed yet, but it's going to be released in a firmware update. And then delete preset clips. Any kind of clips that you make for your preset that you want to stick in the notes, you can store those on your card as well, and you can delete them here. Also delete backups. Any kind of system backups, maybe presets as well, you can delete. So these are all the things that you can store on your card, and you can also delete them. Now to the right we have restore factory defaults, and this will take your system back to factory. It'll be just like it was when you took it out of the box. And then you can select different things to delete from the internal memory over here, and then you can hit reset selected, and it'll go through all these different categories and remove anything you've stored internally in the memory. And then down here we have create a backup. If you want to create a system backup, you do that here. Or you can restore a backup. This is what you would push if you want to take a backup from off of your SD card. And then we have eject micro SD card. So if you want to take it out while it's plugged in, you can do that here. And then we have shutdown, and we press this before we get out of maintenance mode. We're going to do that here in a second. Then finally we have format micro SD card. Now if you remember, we put a 64 gig card in the back of this, so I'm just going to press on that to format the card. It says yes format. We're going to say yes, and now it's going through and it's formatting the 64 gig SD card, and now that card is ready to be used. You're pretty quick. Okay, so now that card is ready to be used with the Helix. Just press OK to get out of that, and now we're going to press shutdown. And then we're going to say, it says to wait for the foot switch number 1 LED to turn off before we shut off the Helix. Just hit OK. Here's our foot switch LED. Got to wait for that to turn off. Now we can turn the Helix off, turn it back on, and it's going to boot up normally. Okay, so over in this section we have the main output control for the 3 main output sources, and these are our 3 sources. Right now we're on 1/4" jack, and we're going to use this to adjust the output for the 1/4" jack only. Now notice that this goes up to, if we turn it all the way up, goes up to 0 dB. Same thing for the XLR, 0 dB, and the same thing for the headset, 0 dB. Now when you first plug into this thing, you want these volumes down, and then you'll play something, then you'll adjust the volume accordingly. If you don't do it that way, you're going to wind up blowing your ears out. So we're going to turn this up. We're going to go over here to the XLR outputs, and if I hit the XLR output again, it brings up the matrix mode, which is basically a mixer. And now we can see that this is the main output for the XLR, and we can adjust it like this. And you notice that it was on 0 dB up here. We can use the encoder knob to get it exactly where we want it here as well. So 0 dB is as high as it goes on this deal, but we'll go back to the encoder knob over here, and we can push it up higher. We can go +6.0. So if it's not loud enough on 0 dB, you can go in here and adjust it individually. Now there are other things here that we can adjust as well. Over here we have Bluetooth, so if you want to connect with your phone and play music that way, there's a volume for that. Then next to that is the auxiliary. It's grayed out because we have it shut off, and there is no auxiliary input plugged in, but this would be the 3rd and the 4th inputs on the effects loops on the back. Then this is the USB in. Okay, so I'm going to play something on my computer right now. You'll see it will begin to register. And there it is. And you can adjust it this way, go down this way, or you can use the encoder and go back up. And the main thing to know is that all of this is regulating the volume that goes out of the XLR output. That only affects the XLR output, okay? So then we have the count in, and then we have a metronome, and this is the song view. So this is for what's coming. And if I press on this little plus sign here, it's going to expand over, and you're going to see that these 4 channels are for whatever it is they're developing. If we go over here further, and we hit on this plus view here, right next to the metronome, you're going to see that we have, we'll scroll over this way, 8 more outputs. And I think this has to do with the audio interface. we have 8 tracks here, and we have 8 main outputs. So this is how we can control the outputs of the audio interface, and we're routing this currently through the XLR connection. Now, if we go through the 1/4 inch jack, it's going to be different. So all of this will control all the volume of everything going out the 1/4 inch jack. If we go over here, now the matrix will represent all the volume that's going out the headphones. So we can adjust each one separately. Let's go back to the XLR outputs now. And we're going to go ahead and close this out. And we're going to go ahead and close this out. And we're going to go ahead and turn off the audio going to the USB. And to get out of matrix mode again, just hit the XLR one more time. And now we're back to the home screen. Okay, next up we have some transport control buttons over here. We have a forward, we have a rewind, and we have a play. And they don't function or work on anything as of yet. There's something coming. I think it goes along with the song view button that's over here. So whatever feature they're currently developing, that's what these buttons will be for. Now that's gonna come out sometime around February, I think. But of course, everything is subject to change. Now, to the right of that, we have these encoder knobs, and what they do is they adjust whatever block is selected. And currently, we have this amp selected right here. And so we can turn these knobs to make any kind of adjustment. We want to turn the drive down, the bright, we can adjust the bass, the middle, the treble, etc. Right? So we have these buttons over here. If we want to go to the next group of controls for this amp, just this arrow will take us over. And then this arrow will bring us back. Now, we can also change the amp with this knob right here. If I turn it, I can change the type of amp that's being used. Now, if I don't like any of the changes that I've made, then I can go over here. We have undo and redo. So we can undo, back to the original amp. And then we can go ahead and make all the knob adjustments we did. We can undo that. And now, and we can redo it too, or we can go back. So that's undo and redo. So these encoder knobs will adjust anything that's selected. For example, we click on the reverb, now the reverb comes up, and we can make our adjustments that way. Okay, and then of course this comes up and you want to get back to the home screen, just hit the home button to get rid of that. And we can hit the undo to go back to the original settings here. There we go. So let's go ahead and change our preset. We're just going to go back one. So we're going to go over here to the knob and go back one preset, push it in, and now we're on Stadium Rock Rig. Now, let's say we want to see the amp on Stadium Rock Rig. We want to make some other types of adjustments. We can go to Focus View, and by this little circle, we press on that. Focus View comes up. You know, it's 5 little sections here. We have the lead, fresh and clean, tight, and pure mule. And so the more we go to pure mule, the more distortion it's going to be. And the more we go to fresh clean, the more it's going to clean up the amp. And we just move that way just by grabbing this circle and moving it wherever we want it to go. And notice that down here, all the settings are changing. So we can go to like lead right there, and that'll give us a good lead tone for the amp. Or we can go down to fresh and clean, and that'll clean it up. Or we can go back to the default sound, which is sort of in the middle there. And to get out of focus view, of course, you just click that and you go right back to where you are. Now, there are, let's say, we're going to open up this, which is a modulation. You want to see this modulation pedal, go to focus view, and it brings up the modulation pedal. So focus view just doesn't work on the amps, it works on all the pedals and all the effects as well. Okay, so now it's time to talk about presets and preset management. Line 6 arranges their presets in banks, and each bank has 4 presets. We see bank 1 down here and bank 2 up here. To load a preset, all you have to do is click on the corresponding foot switch. So we see, for example, Knife Fight here. If we click on that foot switch, Knife Fight loads. Click on Stadium Rock Rig, and we're back to our original preset. To change the banks, you'd use these bank numbers up and down. Say you want to go to bank 6, just click until you get to bank 6, and then let's pick a preset. Notice they're all blinking until we load one. Click unlikely pair, and now unlikely pair has loaded into our main window here. Our preset is loaded. To change, another way to change presets is to use this knob right here. We can use these knobs to scroll through various presets. Let's go down to our original preset. And once we get there, just push the knob in, and then we've loaded our preset. We can also load presets by clicking on the preset name. Right now we're on Stadium Rock Rig. If we click on that, this menu opens up here. There are two sides. There's factory presets, and then there are user presets. And these are all the factory made presets. If we scroll all the way down, you see we have 16 banks. 16 banks times 4 presets per bank gives us 64 factory presets. Now you can't edit these presets, you can't change them in any way. The other side is user presets. Simply by clicking on user presets and clicking on A, you can see that we've just loaded the user preset side of this. And now if we go to the home button will take us back to the main screen, and you can see we're on 1A empty. Click on this again and we're on our main user preset menu here. There's nothing in here because it's empty. We haven't programmed anything yet. But if I scroll all the way down, you will see we're at 128 banks. 128 banks times 4 presets per bank will give us 512 presets that we can create. And we can store some of these presets on the internal micro SD card. Okay, even though you can't edit the factory presets, you can copy them over to the user side and edit it that way. To copy one over, all you would do is hit on factory presets, select a preset you want, like say Stadium Rock Rig. Now that preset is loaded. You can tell if you hit the home button, there's the preset. Let's go to Stadium Rock Rig. We're going to hit on this button right here, which is the save button. Hit the save button and it asks where you want the preset to be. By default, it's going to be in the first location. So we're going to say 2A. We're going to put it there. Save as new. Cancel that. Save as new. There we go. And we're done. And there it is. Stadium Rock Rig is now on the user side. If we click on here, we can see here Stadium Rock Rig. So you want to make your own preset. We're going to go over here to empty, to A. If you want to make your own preset, there's two ways you can do it. You can either start from scratch. If we go here, we can start from scratch. Or we can go over here to where these 3 lines are, and we can click New Preset. Now this will load a set of templates that we can choose from to make a preset from. And we can do all kinds of different things, but let's just stick with empty. Say New Preset. We're on the New Preset section. Now we're going to load a block. So we're going to put our finger where we want our block to be. We're going to make an acoustic guitar preamp preset. So let's click on preamp. And now we can scroll through and find what we want. There's 2 ways to view this, by the way. This is the picture view, then you can click over to list view and you can view them this way. Let's go over to our picture view here, and we're going to go down to Studio Tube preamp. This one is a mic preamp. Now the cool thing is that the Studio Tube preamp is great for acoustic guitars. Now we want that, so we're going to highlight that, and it's added the block. So if I hit home, you can see here's our block that's added. Let's say we want to add a reverb. Well, it's just a matter of putting your finger where you want that block to be, then clicking on the reverb, and then selecting a reverb you want, and then on the home button. It's that easy to create these blocks. Now we're going to save this. We've got a new preset here. Notice our save icon is lit up. Anytime you make a change to a preset, this icon is going to be illuminated. So you're going to go ahead and push that, and we're going to put it in 1A. That's where we want it. And then we're going to save as new. Then we're going to put it in here and hit our X to go back. We're going to call this acoustic. Okay, then we're going to hit done. And there we have our acoustic preset. Let's say we want to make another preset. This time we're just going to start from scratch. We're not going to load a template. And let's go to the home button. We're on 1B empty. And there's no real need for an empty preset template, but they have one anyway. Okay, so we're going to add an amp. Let's do a preamp. And the Clarity amp is another good amp for acoustic guitar. And we're just going to save this preset as it is. We're going to hit our save icon again and save as. And we're going to go ahead and back up. And we're going to say acoustic. But this time, what we're going to do is we're going to assign a color. And we'll assign this a color and make that our standard color for our acoustic presets. Now we just click done. And now we notice that our preset number 1B is the color that we chose earlier. So I don't know how well you could see this, but if you look and see our acoustic preset 1B, okay, we've selected this orangish yellow color to represent that, and it's reflective in the foot switch down here. So we'll go over here to manage presets. We're going to change this, so maybe it'll be a little bit more clear. We're going to select our preset we want to manage, then we're going to go to batch color, and then we're going to change that to purple. And then we're going to click done. And in doing so, now our 1B is purple, but also the light in the foot switch to select that preset is also purple. So you can assign any color you want to any foot switch you want, and that's done right here in batch color. Okay, let's get done and get out of that. Now notice also that we have acoustic 1 on here because when it labeled a preset, it added this 1 that we didn't type. So what we can do is let's get done, let's get out of that, and let's go to rename preset. And here's our acoustic 1. So we're going to go ahead and back up. There we go. And back up one more and click done. And now you can see that the acoustic 2 is on there because you can't have 2 presets that are the same name. One thing you can do though, if you want 2 presets that are the same name, let's go to rename preset again, and we're going to go back, and we're going to go back again, and one more time. This time we're going to leave the space in there, and we're going to click done. And now we have acoustic and acoustic. And so what you can do is add a space as a character, and that'll allow you to name 2 presets the same name. So let's say you want to delete this preset. Well, it's fairly simple. Click on Manage Presets, then click on the one you want to delete, and then click on Delete Preset, then click OK. So now it's time to cover the foot switches and the many things that these foot switches can do. And then we'll go to the global settings and we'll tie everything together from there. Now you already know how to load a preset and how to choose a preset from a bank, but there are 2 dedicated foot switches on this side to do different functions. First, we have the tap tuner. If I lightly touch that, you'll see that the tempo click comes up from the metronome, and you can adjust from there. Then it'll go away. You can tap it for any kind of tempo you want to set for a delay or tremolo or effect. And then you push this down and hold it, and it brings up the tuner. So if let's play a G string here, and there's our G string, and we can adjust it from there. But we can also do a strobe. Right now that's the needle setting. So let's go ahead and play this, and then we'll adjust it. Now, in addition to that, we can go to the strobe setting. Just go in here and click on strobe. Now when we play the string, it does this. If I take it out of tune, you'll see it begin to move. Okay, so in addition to that, if I click on exit, I come out of the tuner mode. Okay, so now let's talk about what this. We'll switch between modes. We have Stomp A and we have Preset right now. And you can load different modes on here. There are more modes to choose from. If we hold this down like so, then we go into more modes that we can load. And we have Combo, Snapshot, Stomp B. There's also a Stomp B, Transport. So let's go and click out of this for now, and we're going to go back to Preset. Now if I click this again, I'm in Stomp A. And in Stomp A, but basically what we do is we assign a pedal effect like a chorus or delay to a foot switch. And right now, let's look at the reverb, the dynamic room reverb. Now, there's a capacitive touch where if I could just lightly touch this, notice that the settings on the reverb change. I can use the arrow knobs to go over to the next set of controls for the reverb, or I can go back. And if I want to turn the reverb on, I just would hit it once and the reverb would turn on, and I can hit it again and I can turn off the reverb. So I have Stomp A, which you can put up to 10 different things on, and Stomp B will allow for another 10. So if I click on more and hold down more, you see now we're in a section that allows us to load more modes. And here's Stomp B, but there's nothing assigned to it, so everything's going to be blank. Also, here's Combo mode. If I click on combo mode, it divides it. So now the Stadium Rock and the other presets are listed up here. And then we have snapshots down here. You can tell snapshots by the camera here. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, what's a snapshot? Well, we'll cover that next. So let's get out of this. And let's hold it down. And now we're in the snapshot section here. Click on snapshot, and now these are all the snapshots that come with this preset, and each one has a name except for snapshot 8 is not being used. So let's go ahead and switch over to snapshot 8, and then while we're in snapshot 8 we're going to change some of the settings. So let's go ahead and let's go to the chorus. Let's go ahead and turn the chorus on. Maybe we want to do that. And let's go ahead and switch the delay on. Okay. So now we've just, and we can adjust some things too. Let's go over to the amp, and we're going to go ahead and take the drive down a little bit, and maybe the bass, and change the tone of the amp just a little bit. Okay, so now this is what we've done to snapshot 8, and now we're just going to save it. Click the save. And it's just click save button. And so now when we go back to the first snapshot rhythm, it goes back to the way the preset originally was. If we want those changes, all we have to do is go over to snapshot 8, click on snapshot 8, and all those changes we've made are now up here. So a snapshot will allow you to save all the settings in your signal chain, and you can load another snapshot with a different group of settings, and you can save up to 8 snapshots. So let's go ahead and click on settings, and when settings opens up, you can see there are a lot of options here. For now, let's go ahead and click on global EQ. Global EQ will open up. So this is the global EQ for the 1/4 inch out. You can see our little icon there. If I switch this over, now it's the global EQ for the XLR output. And now here is the global EQ for the headphone output. So you have basically 3 EQs or global EQs for each main output. So let's go ahead and go click on our home button, and we'll go to the settings again. And let's go to global settings, and let's go to switches and pedals. Now in switches and pedals, all of these encoder knobs basically control how the function of these pedals down here work. For example, I showed you capacitive touch earlier, where we lightly touch the tuner and up comes the tempo click function, or the metronome. That goes away. If we want to turn that off, just over here, we can shut that off so that won't happen anymore. We can shut off all the capacitive touch settings in here. There's a lot of things to go through here. Remember, I told you that we can assign modes to this foot switch. So over here in mode 1, we have stomp A. We can switch this around. Now we're on stomp B, and now we're on the snapshot, and now we're on the transport function, and now we're on combo function. And let's go back. We can also change preset mode right here. So now we're on transport. We can go back here to stomp B, move from stomp A. There, we make stomp A there. We can make snapshot mode there. Now, what we can do is push the encoder knob in, and the default setting will be restored. Let's go over one more. Now what I'd like to show you here is the combo row. So let's go ahead and combo. We're going to push this down so I can explain. We'll go combo right here. So the top row is our preset, and the bottom row is our snapshots, okay? So this is where you would set that up. Let's change our top row, and let's change that to snapshot 1 through 4. And our bottom row, we're going to change to presets. So now our presets are on the bottom, and our snapshots are on the top, 1 through 4. If we want the other 4 snapshots to display, we'll just go over one more. And now snapshots 5 through 8 are displaying. So basically what these 2 encoder knobs do is they allow you to customize the combo mode. And if you just click on these, I'll go right back to the factory defaults. So now let's click on displays, And now that we're in displays, we can adjust the brightness of the display. We can adjust the dim time, and we can use the encoder knobs to adjust all of that stuff. Now, we can also click on the setting we want to adjust, and then this little strip comes up and we can take it down that way, or we can adjust it with this little slider. Same thing here. So this is the dimness of the main LCD, then also the dimness of the scribble strips. Now, to restore this, all we would have to do is hit the encoder button, and now it's restored. Just push it in. Now, the screen dim timeout adjusts how much time will pass before the screen is dimmed out. Right now, we've got 30 minutes on here. If I push this in, the default is 5 minutes. Okay, then this is the dim LED brightness. How much do we want this to dim after 5 minutes? Okay, let's go ahead and click on settings, and then we're going to click on global settings, and then let's go to ins and outs. And now the encoder knobs down here will control all the settings for the inputs and the outputs. And the right arrow will take us over to the next page. Click it again and go over to the third page. So there are 3 pages of settings. The left arrow will take us back. Okay, so we'll start from the left and we'll work to the right. And the first 2 encoder knobs will control the instrument inputs, instrument input 1 and instrument input 2, and just turn the knob to control the setting. If you don't know what the setting does, just click on the setting, and this box comes up and it says sets the input instrument or line level. If your guitar or bass has active or high output pickups, you may want to set this to online. There's really not a rule here. Use what sounds best. To get out of this box, just kind of click it like that. Now, over here on the third encoder knob, we can turn on and off phantom power for the mic. So if you have a condenser mic that you plug in, it will require some sort of power supply, and you can turn on phantom power here for that. Now, this right here is the mic in preamp that's built into the Helix. And then if you do have phantom power on, never unplug the mic. You can damage the unit if you do that. Make sure that phantom power is turned off before you unplug your mic. So next we have line outputs. Here's 1/4 inch out, XLR out, right over here, and then there's a ground lift. And then effects loop 1. These are, let's go over here, one more. And you can see that these are the sends for the effects loop. So you can adjust the volume of the send. Then this right here is a return for effects loop 3 and 4. And you can see that what we adjust here is 3 and 4. If we turn it, we turn on the auxiliary. So the inputs for effects loop 3 and 4 act as an auxiliary as well. So let me show you what that means. If I go over here to the headset here, and I'll click on it again, you can see we have a mixing board here, and the auxiliary is grayed out because it's turned off. Well, we can go back to our global settings here, and then we can turn it on right here. Return 3 and 4, turn it to auxiliary. Let's go back to the headsets, and now it's not grayed out anymore, and we can use this slider to adjust and click on the encoder knob to go to the default here. And now this is the output for the headsets. Here's the output for the XLR, and here's our auxiliary, and here's the output for our 1/4 inch. So we can adjust the level of our auxiliary input simply by this little fader right here. So let's go out of this. Let's click on that, and then we'll go back into our, not the clock. There we go. Let's see, global settings. Okay, so next we have reamp, USB 7 and USB 8. USB 7 and 8 will allow you to record a dry signal so that you can reamp. You can actually use the Line 6 Helix Stadium to reamp your guitar track, and you can switch out amplifiers after your guitar track is recorded. That's going to be it for this video. I plan on making more Helix videos. There are some things we didn't get to cover in this video because it's already getting kind of long, but more videos are on the way. So I want to say thank you for liking, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.